All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive shift in the tech landscape, exactly why successful startups in 2026 are treating AI as absolute core infrastructure, rather than just some shiny novelty. There's a ton of noise out there, but we're going to cut through it and focus on why top-tier startups choose AI to build fundamentally better businesses, not just to ride a passing trend. The biggest question facing every founder and tech investor right now is pretty straightforward. What actually separates the long-term winners from the fast failures? In 2026, AI is totally normalized. Throwing together an impressive demo? That's easier than ever. But building a scalable product that people actually need? That's the real challenge. And the secret sauce really lies in how these startups weave the technology into their core structure. Well, it really comes down to the elephant in the room. The massive difference between a superficial AI wrapper and a true, deeply integrated AI native product. Look, if your product is just a thin interface slapped on top of a model API, it's just a wrapper. Anyone can copy it. And worse, if the model provider just adds your feature natively, boom, you're out of business. But an AI native product? The AI literally drives the core workflow. It solves a complex pain point that simply couldn't be solved without it. That kind of deep integration is where true defensible value lives. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the end of AI hype, and why we're seeing a huge shift toward proof over promises in the modern enterprise. Just to put things into perspective and show you how standard this has become, a staggering 88% of companies are already using AI in at least one business function today. 88%. It is no longer some experimental, nice-to-have project. It's just standard practice. Because adoption is so exceptionally high across the board, simply slapping an AI sticker on your product isn't a competitive advantage anymore. Right now, it is entirely about execution. Moving right along to Section 2, the 5 AI value drivers. Let's look at why startups actually build with AI in the first place. Basically, AI delivers real, tangible value through 5 very specific drivers. First step, you've got speed, which helps users knock out frequent, painful tasks way faster. Then there's quality, leading to better, more consistent decisions with fewer mistakes. Third is leverage, and this is absolutely vital for startups because it lets a tiny team do the work of a massive department. Fourth is personalization, tailoring outputs perfectly to an individual user's context. And finally, number 5, the holy grail, autonomy. Now, let's zoom in on that last one, autonomy. This represents the absolute highest possible value. This is the ultimate goal, where the product literally does work on the user's behalf. Think of autonomous agents replying to inbound sales leads or triggering complex financial actions in the background. But here's the catch. It requires the absolute most trust from your users. You can't just flip a switch. You need incredibly strong design, clear permissions, and rock-solid reliability to actually earn that trust. All right, Section 3, real startup success stories. Let's make this super concrete and look at actual execution and integration happening right now. We're seeing AI solve some serious, highly validated friction points across major sectors right now. Take healthcare, for example. Doctors constantly deal with delayed, inconsistent diagnoses because patient data is so fragmented. The solution? AI clinical decision support that integrates real-time patient data directly into their workflows. In real estate, slow and highly subjective property valuations are being completely replaced by dynamic, real-time predictive analytics. And in finance for SMBs, all that costly manual bookkeeping is being handed over to intelligent, autonomous workflows. To put some numbers to that SMB accounting example, traditional bookkeeping sets a 100% cost baseline. But AI automated bookkeeping tools, they have the potential to drive up to a 70% cost reduction. We're talking about a sector where small and medium businesses spend roughly $60 billion a year on manual bookkeeping. A tool like BotKeeper, which is already automating this for thousands of SMBs, isn't just a shiny feature. It is a literal game changer for the bottom line. Which brings us to Section 4, building AI-native products. Let's break down the validation-first MVP approach, because how do you actually build these things without blowing through all your runway? Well, the most fatal mistake a founder can make is falling right into the trap. That's when you start with an incredible AI model and then frantically search around for a use case. That is a guaranteed one-way ticket to building a highly polished product with absolute zero market demand. The real solution? Start with the problem. You have to find where business friction and inefficiencies hurt the absolute most and then apply AI to solve it. Demand absolutely has to dictate the technology. So to avoid that trap entirely, you need a strict validation-first roadmap.
Step 1. Validate the problem and the actual demand. Step 2. Identify the exact core workflow that needs fixing. And Step 3. Build an extremely narrow MVP. I mean one target user, one core workflow, one main input, and one useful output. Don't go building a dozen fancy dashboards and agents on day one. Keep it incredibly tight to prove that the AI actually drives real, repeatable user behavior.
And when you do finally sit down to code that narrow MVP, utilizing a proven stack is critical. For 2026, the go-to is PostgreSQL as your primary database. It's brilliant because it seamlessly handles relational data, JSON docs, and vector embeddings all in one single system. For the backend, FastAPI is phenomenally fast if you're building a Python AI-heavy MVP, or Node.js with Hano or Express if your team is JavaScript native. Oh, and you have to prioritize task decomposition. Breaking complex requests down into smaller, highly focused prompts will drastically lower your API costs and massively improve your output quality right out of the gate. Let's move into our final section, Section 5, the Human-AI Partnership. This is all about scaling execution while amplifying human judgment. Because look, having the right code is really only half the battle. Successful startups know this isn't about replacing humans entirely. It's about synergy. AI handles the high-frequency execution, it processes insane amounts of data instantly, and knocks out the repetitive rules-based heavy lifting. And humans? We get to focus on what we actually excel at: high-level strategy, genuine empathy, complex negotiation, and creative problem-solving. AI does the heavy execution, freeing us up to do the real thinking. And just to put a hard, undeniable number on that synergy, 3.7x. According to recent data, sellers and operators who actively partner with AI tools are a staggering 3.7 times more likely to hit their sales quotas compared to those who don't. That is literally the definition of operational leverage. But a quick reality check here. It is definitely not an automatic victory. Keep this warning in mind. A massive 40% of agentic AI projects are going to fail if they lack clear objectives, proper governance, and active human collaboration. You can't just deploy an autonomous agent and walk away, right? It requires strict oversight. The technology gives you the crazy scale for sure, but human beings still have to provide the direction and the guardrails. So, to summarize the core of our explainer today, it all comes down to this quote: embrace AI as a teammate that scales execution while amplifying human creativity and judgment. That is exactly why successful startups choose AI. They don't view it as some superficial gimmick or a lazy way to cut headcount. They view it as a highly collaborative teammate that totally upgrades their entire operational foundation. So as you evaluate your own startup, or maybe your team or your investment portfolio, you have to ask yourself one absolutely critical question. Is your product simply wrapped in AI, or is it fundamentally built to solve a specific, painful problem that was completely impossible to solve yesterday? If you're just building a wrapper, you are vulnerable. But if you're building an AI-native solution to a deeply validated problem, you are building the future. Think on that, and we'll see you in the next explainer.